Let's spend a moment talking about exports. The data that came out for July shows a 16% decline in exports to 32.25 billion exports, now contracting for the sixth straight month. The surge in manufacturing exports, Minister Goyal, was one of your big achievements till a few months ago. Now we're seeing exports decline, even though imports too have come down 17%, that's according to government data. How do you hope to deal with the global headwinds which are seeing exports fall for the sixth straight month in the way that they have?
Well, very clearly, India was on a highway. You saw our exports grow from $500 billion to about $776 billion in a short span of 2 years. That's 55% growth in only 2 years. Clearly, that was very, very rapid, some of it led by inflationary tendencies. So we had a large amount of petroleum exports during the last year or last 2 years, particularly after the Ukraine conflict, which is currently down. We have also brought in measures to impose taxes on export of petroleum products. We have also stopped the export of many commodities like rice, wheat, different products which are required to maintain India's own food reserves and requirements of foodstuffs and raw materials. And therefore, I think if you see it in that context, our manufacturing exports are not showing a fall in absolute numbers or in volume terms. The larger part of the fall in exports is in petroleum products and in some cases in products which are discretionary spending like gem and jewelries or gold jewelry. And that is why you'll see a corresponding reduction in imports also. Our overall trade deficit is in fact lower than it was last year for the corresponding period.
Let's spend a moment on trade with China. One of the government's big efforts is to pull manufacturing away from China. We've made it tougher for Chinese companies to come and invest in Indian startups, for example, as was being seen as a trend. Despite that, India's exports to China are coming down and India's imports from China are continuing to surge, as a result of which our trade deficit with our neighbor across the Himalayas is the opposite of what we'd like it to be in terms of trend line. How confident are you that this will reverse soon, or do you think that, as is the case with the US and so many other economies across the world, trade with China and the skew towards this benefiting China more than it benefits India is only inevitable and there's not much we can do in the short to medium term about it?
No, it's absolutely possible to reverse this trend and we are committed to reverse it. I would like you to reflect back on why this has happened. The reality is that way back in 2004 or 5, we saw the imports coming in from China surge, import duties were reduced and large quantities of goods started coming in from China, which in fact killed India's domestic manufacturing, killed the investment story in India. We saw our country move into large imports from China, due to which the trade deficit with China actually grew by over 30 times. So 3,000% increase in our trade deficit with China in the 10 years of the UPA government. Sadly, the UPA believed in encouraging imports from China, due to which our domestic capacities did not keep pace with our demand. Over the last 9 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been encouraging investments in a big way in India. We are encouraging domestic manufacturing. We have brought in schemes like the production-linked incentive scheme. We are supporting our textile sector. We are supporting various sectors, refineries, the power sector, renewable energy, manufacturing of machineries for renewable energy. All of these efforts have started bearing fruits. We are seeing more and more investments coming into India. And as we start meeting the growing Indian demand through domestically manufactured goods, I'm sure our imports from China will start coming down. We believe in an open and transparent economy, whereas China is an opaque and non-transparent economy, due to which they are able to dump goods into India We are taking action on several products which have seen a surge in imports from China, but at the same time, we have to balance the needs of our consumers. The fact that India is growing and is a fast-growing economy means India's demand for goods and services is also growing very rapidly. Our exports to China are subdued because the Chinese economy is in the doldrums. The Chinese economy is slowing down. And very clearly, the Chinese do not have a level playing field when it comes to international trade, which India is taking up very strongly at all international fora. We are building up our partnerships with the developed world, the Western world, the democratic world in a much stronger way, which will help us wean away those countries from China and help India's domestic manufacturing take wings, have economies of scale, and become more competitive to be able to serve the needs both of India and other countries.
India's #1 political reporter
defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV.